first glance, Skinfreak has to be one of the most boring horror games. The streets are empty, the pacing is slow, nothing jumps out, nothing screams, and for a while, nothing really happens. I can explain how they got there. So how exactly did this horror game that was played by so many big YouTubers have me sweating in the last quarter of the game? In my opinion, I think that the horror market right now is currently flooded with games that chase quick scares, loud noises, sudden monsters, all of this just thrown at you in the first few minutes. They pretty much just want your reaction right away. And as you'll see, Skinfreak isn't a jump scare fest. It's a psychological, slow burn horror. The game opens with Max. We're a cab driver who's running a little late, because why start a horror game on time? We grab our keys and immediately our boss Jerry, he has some interesting words for us.
You keep this up, I'll have you back to selling that second-rate stank hole of yours behind the liquor store again. Giving out those 2-for-1 spit and stick deals. Feel me?
Very motivational.
Good. Now go out there and get me my money, ho.
So we grab our keys, hop in the taxi, and set off into the fog. No tutorial, no intro cutscene, just VHS grain and liminal fog. On the surface, this just seems like another shift. Or is it? But as we can tell from the title of this game, that's not going to be the case. Unbeknownst to Max, there's a killer loose in the city tonight, someone they call the Skinfreak. The killer watches, follows, and carefully picks his victims. He strikes when the victims are alone and unsuspecting. The victims are reported to be skinned alive from head to toe. No skin, no traces, nothing left behind but blood and silence. Police say the precision is surgical, almost ritualistic.
Hello, jolly afternoon, or jolly evening.
Hi, hello. Can I get two 3-piece chicken joys with sweet spaghetti?
Ooh, can't wait to eat this. Oh, is this still on?
The first passenger of our taxi is literally named Drunk Man. He slurs something about wanting to go to the watering hole.
Place on the double then. Like the old water tower.
And again, no GPS, no map marker, we just drive around until we find this place. Luckily, Drunk Man makes it to his destination safely.
Alright, better get back to it.
Our next passenger is a guy named Man. That's it, just Man.
Tunnel.
And he wants to go to this place called the Tunnel. That's all he gives us is the Tunnel. And as we know from previous horror games, never trust someone who doesn't have a name in a horror game. At first, he's friendly, and then he starts rubbing my seat like he's at Jeff Epstein's island. And in that joke, the seat is supposed to be something else. I can't really say it. It's a little inappropriate. I know. I'm working on the material, okay? Oh, shut up. I'm working on it.
It's this great place under the tunnel. I can get you in.
The man invites us to party with him at the tunnel, which we kind of denied because he's kind of weird. And this was his reaction to our denial.
Keep your mouth shut the rest of the way.
Not a normal reaction. We drop him off, he slams the door, and he heads into the tunnel, and then it happens. It kind of looks like something sprints across our window, but it's way too fast to make out what it was. And all of a sudden...
We interrupt your listening for an important APB. It has just been reported that the police are on a manhunt tonight. All citizens are urged to stay indoors if you can, but if you can't, please stay diligent and on the lookout for anyone suspicious.
We pretty much find out that the Skinfreak has committed a crime a few blocks away, as if this shift wasn't already freaky enough, but the night must continue. Next, we pick up an old lady. At first, she seems harmless, until she tells us that she casually just saw the latest Skinfreak crime scene.
Did you hear about the Skinfreak?
Like, she really starts describing this thing like it's like a Yelp review.
I saw the crime scene, you know. Passed by it just an hour ago. Real nasty stuff. It was definitely his work. Not an inch of skin was left on that poor woman.
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's?
Looked like she was thrashed around a lot. Judging by the blood all over the place.
Alright, okay. We get it, alright? I'd have smacked your old grandma ass. I'm over here still eating my freaking chicken.
Skin peeled back layer by layer like an onion.
And I have to say that getting bits of info from customers and the radio about a loose serial killer really makes this like really eerie. I mean, we know that there's a serial killer on the loose, but Max here, our boy Max, he doesn't. This is an era before smartphones, and getting pieces here and there really sets the mystery. I can't say that word. Mystery. You have to remember that this is an era before smartphones, so getting pieces here and there really sets the mystery for like what's about to be a slow burn horror reveal. And no smoke, kids, okay? Smoking is bad. But then again, this is like the 80s and the 90s, so smoking was kind of cool back then. Anyways, we get to our destination, which is a bowling alley, because Grandma's got a bowl.
Here you go, Sonny. I believe this should cover it.
She pays her fare, but we realize that it's actually just a button.
Ma'am, this is a button.
And then she runs out of the taxi like she's Usain Bolt. And just as we're catching our breath, we see it again. It kind of looks like a flash of something crawling across the roof of our cab upside down, but nope, not today, we keep driving. We stop at Gloria Hole's Diner, yes, that's the name of the restaurant, and Gloria recognizes us.
You know, you look like you could use a coffee.
Gloria, you diagnosed me better than my urologist.
And Max shows us that he's actually got some game.
Someone's gotta look out for you, kid.
And then he gets immediately friend-zoned. Tragic. As we're about to take our first sip of our delicious black coffee,
Thanks.
she hits us with this.
I'm surprised you stopped in. What with you having a customer and all.
What do you mean?
And of course, we run out there, we check, empty. We gaslight ourselves into thinking that everything is fine. One last passenger, and her name is Belle. Apparently, she is new in town and she just left the comedy club after doing stand-up.
Sorry, just got done with a practice set at the comedy club. Ever been?
Can't say that I have.
Well, don't. It's full of hacks like me.
But she basically tells us that she's staying at the local motel called the Grubby D Motel, and the naming department at Puppet Combo really needs some help, or they're really good at what they do. Anyways, we drop Belle off, and all of a sudden,
Max,
Jerry calls us saying that we need to bring the taxi back because...
turns out I got a hot date tonight.
And we don't want to make Jerry wait for his hot date, so we pull in, we park the taxi, and as we begin to close the gate to the depot, the trunk pops open on its own. Use our detective reasoning to check the trunk and determine that nothing is there. Yep, nothing is there. We go inside Jerry's office to drop the keys. Inside his office, he has a really cool poster, a dirty plunger, and a mural of Jesus Christ. I gotta admit, I didn't really take Jerry for a believer in Christ. Anyways, we hang our keys, we get ready to head out when all of a sudden... The Skinfreak claims his first victim. Well, not his first victim, but the first victim that we get to witness. And unfortunately, the last thing that Max gets to witness. And I do have to say that that hour that we spent with Max in the game, it just works so well because that scare at the end, we kind of earned that payoff. By the time you finally see the Skinfreak, it's not like a jump scare, it's more like a culmination of dread. Like you've been expecting this throughout the whole game, that something was gonna happen. So when it kind of does, you know, I feel like the payoff is a lot harder. Max's death, like it hits you really hard because you kind of lived his whole night, you know what I'm saying? And you're gonna see that this is not the first time that they're gonna do this in this game. And if you actually go back and rewind through most scares of the game, you'll realize that the Skinfreak was actually stalking us the entire night. Like every single time that we saw something through the corner of our eyes, there he was, looking like a saggy nutsack. But hey, what do you expect when the killer is wearing a suit completely made out of skin? And then the perspective changes. We switch over to Belle, the comic relief from earlier. Police are questioning her about the break-in to her room at the Grubby D Motel.
Any valuables stolen?
Only literally everything I own?
So, no.
She says she might know who might have done it and says that it's possibly her dad.
Like I was trying to explain to you, I know exactly who it is. My
Oh, you saw who broke in? Why didn't you just say so?
No, I didn't see him, but I know who it is.
Now, I know some of you guys like girls with daddy issues, but I don't think this is where the story's going. Just then, the cop is interrupted by a call on his radio. It's the Skinfreak. He's struck again.
Attention. Suspect believed to be the Skinfreak. All units report now.
Poor old Max.
Lady, if this happens again, give us a call. I gotta go.
As the cop sprints out of here, we begin to clean our vandalized room to try to salvage anything left in our deposit. But I don't think we're getting anything back. Can you explain why there's blood, baby oil, handcuffs, and garlic butter in the hotel room? You're actually not gonna believe me, but this is actually P. Diddy's room. Yeah, the Illuminati gets a little freaking motel rooms.
Who could be calling this late at night?
Just then our phone rings. It's Mr. Bond, our boss. He wants us to go install new software at the office before midnight. We have to remember that this is a horror game, so it kind of requires us to have to come back to work, you know, late at night.
I know. I arranged an overnight delivery. Can you please go in tonight and make sure it's installed on all our computers?
Anyways, he makes us an offer of a fat paycheck and a day off.
I'll give you half a week's extra pay if you do it. And you get tomorrow off, of course.
And that's all it takes. We take it. We're in. We pull up into our office in the dead of the night, and again, we're surrounded by this VHS liminal feeling that something is watching us, something is going to happen tonight. We just kind of feel it deep in our bones. And the empty parking lot doesn't really help. Anyways, we go inside the building and immediately we see a key inside the vending machine of the first floor. Now, I'm not a genius, okay, but something tells me we're gonna be coming back for this. Then at the front desk, we meet Steve, the security guard, who's been working at this building since Windows 95.
It's the dead of night, Belle. What are you doing here at this time?
Steve tells us that our delivery is not here yet.
Boss ordered overnight shipping. It was supposed to be delivered by now.
Must be running late.
And we're giving basic dialogue options to interact with some of the NPCs here, but they eventually all just lead to the same answers.
Anything exciting happened today?
So, I assume you didn't hear the news from a half hour ago? There was quite a bit of excitement around here.
And Steve begins to yap with us. He fills us in on our new coworker named Harold. Now, apparently Harold's been caught as being the Skinfreak killer. They apparently caught him in his house with some of the victims there.
You know the new guy up in your office?
Harold? Yeah, what about him?
He was killing people, Belle. There were a couple Skinfreak murders earlier tonight. Not all of the details are out, but detectives found some evidence at the crime scene and showed up at Harold's house. I don't know exactly what police found in there, but they confirmed that Harold was in fact the Skinfreak.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. The game is over. The Skinfreak has been caught. The game is over. Of course, that is not true because you paid $15 for a game and the night is just beginning. In usual puppet combo game fashion, we are then left to explore. The first floor lobby leads to a locked security door, an elevator, and a basement that we can't enter yet. We need a flashlight. There's also this weird lost and found room with like this AI that will help you retrieve items you've obtained throughout the game. Like if you find a flashlight or a screwdriver but you can't carry it because your inventory is full, this AI will like get it for you.
Here you go, Belle.
And this is kind of helpful if you do end up losing like a necessary item that like you need to progress. But in all honesty, I'd rather suffer through the game. I'd rather go back and find the items where I left them myself. Kind of like old school Resident Evil. This just kind of makes the game a whole lot easier and I didn't really enjoy it. But hey, I'm a bit of a masochist myself. With no real instructions or map, which is usually in the puppet combo games, we take the elevator to the 6th floor where our office is located. While inside the elevator, we notice that the button to floor 5 is missing and floor 7 is currently off limits. I'm sure this won't play a role later on. When we get to the 6th floor, it looks almost normal, almost cozy. There's like an ambient noise familiar with the office setting. The clock is ticking. There's humming ambient noises of old electronics. There are several offices of our coworkers. Some are open, some are locked, but we eventually find ours. And I swear, that is not mine, okay? Whatever, let's tape it to the chair and just act like it's a normal day. But we can't install the update yet because we still don't have it. And in our computer, we have this little mini game. It's called Shotgun, where I may or may not have spent 45 minutes trying to beat this with no success. The game is created by our character Belle, and it's a simple beat 'em up, but instead of fist, as the game implies, you have a shotgun. The game is a really simple 2D game where you're taking out henchmen left and right, and eventually you reach a boss with a pig mask and a chainsaw, which if you remember Max dying, it kind of sounds like the Skinfreak was doing some kind of pig growl noises. Kinda creepy, and I'm sure that won't come back later in the game. Another cool side note, in our office we have a Skinfreak poster and a bunch of VHS tapes of other Torture Star games, which is the publishing label of Puppet Combo. Cool little Easter eggs. And from here on, it's pretty much just exploring the rest of the 6th floor and the rest of our co-workers' offices. Karen's computer is locked, but we find the password to her computer in her trash can, which is not really a smart thing to do. And then we have another coworker named Fatty Cakes. Yes, that is his name, Fatty Cakes. Well, Fatty Cakes leaves a sticky note saying that he's lost both of his keys to his office and he's placed them somewhere. And I'm starting to think that this company doesn't really prioritize safety. Just then we get a phone call from the 6th floor lobby phone.
Hello? Ouch, my ears! Sounded like an animal or something.
As we go back to the lobby of the 6th floor, we run into Lucy. She's our coworker who's staying the night here. Apparently she had a fight with her boyfriend, you know, just one of those nasty fights, so she needs to stay here for the night.
What are you doing here? Are you okay?
It's, well, it's Neil again. Him and his friends are on one of their ragers.
And we decide to fill her in on good old Harold.
Lucy, they say Harold is the Skinfreak.
What?
Yeah, there's like a whole manhunt going on right now for him.
I guess I'm not too shocked. He was kind of odd. He kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies. Like, when you talk to him, his mind always seemed elsewhere.
And Lucy hits us with this banger of a quote.
Knowing that an absolute monster like that can be in any part of your life is an unsettling thought.
Seriously, that is an unsettling thought that at any part of your life you can run into a serial killer, like at the grocery store, a friend of a friend, a family member, someone out on the road, someone next to you at the stoplight. The possibilities are endless. And I really think that that is what Jordan King is trying to do with this game, with this slow burn mystery, as you'll see later on. Anyways, Lucy ends this conversation and tells us that she sometimes has some good ideas.
If you need help with anything, just ask. Sometimes I have good ideas.
But I have a feeling that we won't see her again into the later half of the game, when we might have to rescue her. That's just an assumption. As we leave the lobby, we find a coin on the 6th floor. I'm going to assume that this is what we need to get Fatty Cake's key from the vending machine. All this exploring has got us hungry, so we decide to go across the street for a glizzy.
Maybe I'll run over to the store across the street. I need to eat something. Shouldn't have skipped dinner.
But as we leave, we notice that Steve is not at his desk, and we hear this chilling radio message over the radio.
Police are still on an intense manhunt to find an individual they believe to be responsible for a string of brutal killings. Of course, I'm referring to the Skinfreak murders, a particularly gruesome set of serial killings that has left most of its victims completely skinned from head to toe.
The transmission says that police are looking for the Skinfreak killer, which is odd because Steve told us that Harold has already been named the suspect, and just like that, Steve pops up and scares the crap out of us.
Button fell off my jacket. Been looking for this guy for the past 5 minutes.
But we still do the nice co-worker thing and we offer him a glizzy.
Nah, I don't eat gas station food anymore.
Which he denies. And so we walk across the street to one of the most terrifying gas stations that I have ever seen in the search of our great glizzy.
I hope they have hot dogs. That would hit the spot. Something about a gas station dog that's been left out all day just speaks to the self-destructive side of me.
We find our meat of choice, drench it with ketchup and mustard, and head to pay for it. But before we pay, we decide to do some exploring in the back room. And we get our path blocked by a jump scare. And to be quite honest, we kind of deserve that jump scare because we were kind of sneaking around in an employee area. There's also a locked employee door behind the counter that we can't access, and no one's at the register, so we leave $1 at the counter. And I mean, it's $1 that we could use to get Fat Key's key from the vending machine, but whatever, it's fine, it's fine. We like a good search for coins. As we head out, the front door is now locked, and the door behind the counter is now open. Cool. We go inside the employee room, and we find this computer. Inside the computer, we find this random photo that I don't really know what this is supposed to be. And then some random guy appears and starts complimenting our smooth skin.
I wasn't meaning to snoop, but I couldn't get out. Your front door is stuck. So, yeah. I put the money on the counter. If you could open the door for me, that'd be great.
You have real smooth skin.
Totally not suspicious at all. He asks who we're with, we lie. And he doesn't buy it. He attacks us with a screwdriver, and then another guy saves us yelling that this man is sick and that he's sorry.
I'm sorry, he's sick.
And I think he's right. I think this guy's completely sick.
Remember me like I remember
The creepy old man drops a screwdriver, we use it to unscrew the window and get the hell out of there. And you know what the worst part about all of this is? We never even got our glizzy. Back at the office, the power goes out and Steve is missing.
Great. His outages started last month. The breaker box kept freaking out and tripping. That was supposed to be fixed. Steve, you around?
We find his flashlight on the floor, which means we gotta go to the basement to turn on the breaker. When we go to the basement, it's completely pitch black. It has long halls, concrete walls, you know, the usual puppet combo stuff. We do a little bit of exploring and eventually we reach this room with a red glowing light. However, the door is locked. But outside we do find another coin, and when we turn around, another blow-up doll. And I'm starting to wonder who's putting these dolls up. I also found a Monster energy drink down here, which I will gladly take.
Thank you, there's a monster right now. I could go for a monster. I need a monster right now. Just a little pick-me-up. I'm so tired. A little monster may help a little.
But we flip the generator, the lights come back on, and after this, it's pure puppet combo chaos. Keys, vents, elevators, the works. We're pretty much traveling through all 6 floors. We're going through the gates, finding ways to shut off fans and vents, finding ways to open the remaining offices on the 6th floor. And I do have to say that this bit was a little bit of time consuming. You know, it took me a little over an hour, but hey, if you get me enough coffee brewing, I'm all game for it. And remember, our objective is to install the software on all the computers on the 6th floor, and the deadline is today. While on the 2nd floor, while doing a little bit of exploring, we meet a friendly AI cleaning robot named Sir Charles. He's this cute little cleaning robot that will eventually help us fetch a key when we make a mess that he's compelled to clean up.
Out with it, woman. What do you mean?
There's quite a mess over by the garbage chute.
And he's a little cute little robot. They give him a couple lines here. He's having an existential crisis on the meaning of life. And in the middle of all of this, Belle decides to take a nap.
Alright, that's it. I need a nap if I'm going to be here the rest of the night.
Which, if you ask me, might not be the best time to take a nap. We sneak into Katie's unlocked office, you know, the one who had the computer password in the trash, and we sleep on her couch. And then we have a creepy nightmare of our father. We have this creepy nightmare that our father is working at a butcher shop and he's telling us to kill the pig and not to throw the skin away.
Don't throw away the skin this time!
But as we go to slice up the pig, we see a reflection of ourselves. Interesting. Hey, I did say Belle did have some daddy issues. As we wake up, we head out to start looking for the missing 2 quarters when we run into the UPS man with our delivery.
Jumpy.
Well, yeah, you scared the shit out of me.
Just looking for someone to sign.
He pretty much tells us that he has our delivery and he didn't see any security guard downstairs and he basically just let himself in with the delivery. And I gotta admit, this delivery guy has gotta be one of the creepiest delivery men that we've ever met.
Mind if I come closer?
Well, yeah, sure. Why couldn't you?
Just didn't want you to run away.
And then we start to wonder if this town is just full of weird people. I mean, at this point, it's a classic horror whodunit. Any one of these weirdos can be the Skinfreak at this point, pretty much.
Don't forget the bottom, silly goose.
Anyways, we install the software in the unlock offices, and that leaves us with 3 locked ones. We have Fatty Cakes, Harold, and our boss is Mr. Bond. We keep exploring, we collect 4 quarters, we open Fatty Cakes' office, we solve this code puzzle, and then we solve another bookshelf puzzle that eventually leads us to Mr. Bond's secret office. Because every boss has a secret office. And the whole time that we're doing this, we haven't encountered the Skinfreak yet. We get glimpses, we get feelings that someone is watching us, like a quick glimpse if we turn around, we'll like see a shadow in the corner, sex dolls and mannequins appearing where they weren't before. It's done so subtly yet so eerie because you just don't know what's going to happen. You know that you're being watched, you have a feeling that someone is in this building with you, but at this point in the game, we still don't know if the Skinfreak is actually here, or we don't know what could actually happen to us. We don't know when we're going to be attacked, and if we're going to be attacked. And what really helps us feel safe is that throughout the building there's ambient noise, there's light. It feels like, you know, you have this cover of safetiness, like the stakes aren't that high. And finally we finish up with Mr. Bond's office. That only leaves Harold's office. Lucky for us, as we walk right by it, the office unlocks itself.
Why is this open now?
Inside it, everything is trashed. His jacket, his hat, which is kind of the same ones that the Skinfreak wore. And when you try to access his computer, everything is locked, but we can still install the software. And finally, we finish the last update. We get ready to head out when we get a phone call.
Hello? And that's been—
Yep, that's when we decide that we've had enough. We're done with this shift, the money's not worth it. We head downstairs to leave, when all of a sudden, the game does a complete 180. Basically, the security gates close on us and we get locked in. And we hear Steve's voice come over the radio.
Belle? Is that you?
Steve!
He sounds weak and shaky. He's not doing so good.
Steve!
Don't worry about me, kid. I'm behind the security door. I've got the access key for the hallway gates.
He basically tells us that we have to go to the 7th floor. Remember the previously closed off floor on the elevator? And from there, we can manually open the security gates. Steve unlocks the security door that was previously locked, and we go in the locker room, shower area, unaware of what we're about to find. And I do have to say that just slowly walking in this scene is terrifying. We felt previously safe knowing that we had lights, Steve was at his desk, it was like a false sense of safety, and now that's kind of out the window. And by this point, we have been playing for over an hour and have yet to encounter the Skinfreak in its entirety. We get one final update via the radio as we walk by one, and the updates are that the police are still looking for the Skinfreak.
Still urge individuals to stay inside. We repeat, stay inside. We also ask that you report suspicious
We start looking in the showers for any sign of Steve, hoping that he's not actually in there taking a shower, and in one of the showers we find a bloody shirt that belonged to Steve. Thankfully, he was nice enough to leave us his key card. And just like that, we hear something, so we hide. And then, in all its glory, we finally see him. He's here. There's no more denying it. He's stalking us. So we sprint across the lobby when all of a sudden Lucy's voice comes through the intercom.
Help! Someone please help me! Steve! Belle! The basement! Please, it hurts!
She's trapped in the basement and needs our help. Not like I predicted that earlier. We go back to that red lit room with the blow up doll outside, the one that was locked before, and surprise, it's not locked anymore. Inside, Lucy is hanging above a tub of acid, and I feel a sense of relief because we're about to rescue her and get the hell out of here. And that is short-lived because I turn around and the Skinfreak knocks us out cold like we just tried Bill Cosby's drink. And in this scene, you kind of have to squirm around and use your mouse to move things around. I died a few times here. I thought this was a cutscene. You know, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that, but I did die like twice. But eventually, the goal is to break the glass. You use the shard to pretty much cut your wrist and then your leg so you can break free. And apparently, the Skinfreak is like on a 5-minute break or something because he's watching you just like let this happen. He's like completely left the room. Anyways, we break out of there. We free Lucy, and she probably has cancer from inhaling all those fumes.
Belle, please be careful.
And we use Steve's security card to kind of make our way all the way to the 7th floor. Pretty much with the access key, we kind of start going through old puzzles. We have to go through vents, trash chutes, stairwells. We pretty much start doing it all over again. But we even run, the Skinfreak didn't even spare Charles.
Bella, I'm sorry, I don't feel so well.
Oh, Charles.
He basically tells us that it's time to meet his maker, and just like that, he's gone.
I think I'm ready to meet my maker again.
And eventually, nothing noteworthy really happens until you reach the 5th floor. And when you get to the 5th floor, the lights flicker out and the Skinfreak prowls through these rows of cubicles. Like, this scene is like so intense. It's so hard to describe it, but pretty much you're in this office that has like rows of cubicles. You have to hit 5 switches so that the door can open next door and you can progress, but you have to avoid the Skinfreak. If he sees you, he's chasing you with his saw, and just the sound, the volume, everything, all of this works really, really well. It's so freaking intense. I was able to make it and find all 5 switches without dying once here, but I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't close. We got chased a few times, and eventually we emerged on the 6th floor where our office is. And the familiar ambient sounds from earlier, the hums, the ticking clocks, they all feel warped and sinister now. Like, we're hearing the same sound effects, but now that the lights are off, now that the Skinfreak is chasing us, it just feels so different. Using the stairs, we ascend to the 7th floor in hopes to shut off the security system. We make our way to the security room and we find something there. Or someone. It's the creepy delivery man from earlier. And he gives us one quick jump scare with a gun in his hand and he collapses dead, leaving the weapon behind. Which makes you wonder, why is the UPS walking around all strapped up? But nonetheless, we are now armed with the gun and we proceed forward. When all of a sudden we are interrupted by Harold.
You scared me. I didn't know you were here.
Harold, what are you doing here?
A funny thing, I fell asleep at my desk. Mr. Bond had me working on an important project.
And for some reason, I didn't really picture Harold bald. But we begin to question Harold, our own sanity, and if he really was the Skinfreak killer. He basically tells us that he was actually in his office the whole time, and Mr. Bond had actually asked him to work on a project late at night. But we're left with no choice, so we move on. And then we see it, a skinned body nailed to the wall. It's possibly Steve.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
We pretty much question Harold some more. Like why he's even here, the building was supposed to be empty. And also why we didn't see him when we were at his office earlier.
I see you at any point tonight.
Am I on trial or something? Damn it, stop with the questions! Flip that switch over there and let's go!
But before he can answer, the Skinfreak bursts through the wall, swinging his saw. Harold is cut down right in front of us. We're just gonna get out of here and get on the elevator. Right before the doors close, the Skinfreak leaves us a parting gift. He skinned that pretty quick. When the elevator opens again, we're in this concrete labyrinth on the final floor. The soundtrack shifts to a deep, echoing drum beat, and the Skinfreak stalks us through the dark. And we pretty much have to go through this whole labyrinth. Like, he keeps popping out of all these like little doors and entryways. And I gotta say, it's like really, really unsettling because he can pop out of any corner. And this is amplified by the soundtrack because the sound of the saw just bearing loudly, like, it freaking really creeps me out. But anyways, we eventually pass a row of mannequins and dolls and realize that it was the Skinfreak leaving these little breadcrumbs for us. And then we find a skin-bloodied corpse on the floor that happens to be our dad for some reason. I guess the break-in from earlier, the dream, the call, it wasn't random. Her father had been following us all along. But we don't really question this any further, like this doesn't really come up again. But the Skinfreak is on our ass, so the reunion is cut short and we keep running. We finally reach a stairwell leading upwards, and we can hear like sirens echoing from outside.
Is that sirens?
And it's pretty much a construction site that's like ongoing. We start crossing a narrow plank when suddenly the Skinfreak saws through the wall, slashing our hand completely clean off, losing the gun. Our bone is exposed and we stumble forward. We keep moving and we turn this like little valve thingy around for some reason, but the music turns somber. The Skinfreak calls out to us like we're cool after he just literally sawed off our freaking hand.
Stay away from me!
I thought we were friends, Belle.
What?
But as we keep moving away from the Skinfreak, he takes his mask off and it turns out it's...
Steve? You're... How?
Steve tells us that he was about to flee the city when he saw us coming to work today, and he starts to give us the weirdest compliments ever.
I'll cut that beautiful skin of yours away, and I'll leave all the ugliness underneath.
And at this point, I feel like this Skinfreak really could have been like any of the three weirdos that we met today. Like, it could have been the gas station guy, the UPS guy, and Steve, really. Like, the effect would have been the same if it was like the gas station guy, you know? But anyways, we keep moving away from this homicidal maniac, and for some reason, there's a button on the wall that we press, causing construction equipment to fall on Steve. He ends up getting impaled by rebar, and we do it one more time, and he gets slammed by the steel so fast that his blood doesn't have time to react to the quantum force. We eventually pass out on the count of losing our blood, and we wake up at the hospital and we start hallucinating that the Skinfreak is still watching us. But is it our hallucination? Is it our mind? Or is he really stalking us? And then the game ends with this wall of text that pretty much says that Belle was kind of admitted into an asylum, but then she was released and disappeared. She was hiding from reporters, obsessed with her story. Her father and Steve are dead, and so is Max. He doesn't get a mention in this little epilogue, but you know, justice for Max. Justice for Max. He deserves some justice too. Belle struggles to live a normal life, and I guess they gave her a hook for a forearm. Like, how freaking cool is that? Like, she now has a hook for an arm. Like, imagine all the cool conversations that you can have out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a hook for an arm. How freaking cool is that? You survived a serial killer, and now you got, like, this prosthetic that is just badass. And after some time, Steve's grave has been mysteriously dug up nearly a year later, and his body is missing. Authorities blame it on a prank by teens, but no one really believes that. That's pretty much the ending of the game. It leaves a lot to interpretation, right? But pretty much what Skinfreak does compared to other games in the market is this slow lead up, this slow build up to you confronting the killer. Like the resolution for the plot, they're both very similar. Max's demise and then Belle's story. I kind of treat them as like it's a whole game, but they're kind of two separate stories really. And then both of them have their own like weird characters, right? You start suspecting that maybe the one guy that starts cussing at you in the taxi might be the killer. The grandma knows a lot of details. You pretty much start suspecting that it's these weird people. And then, boom, you kind of meet the killer. And same with Belle, you kind of meet all these assholes throughout the game. You don't really know who the killer could be. And then, boom, you kind of meet Steve and he's the killer. I think both of these do it really well. I think hopefully a lot more games kind of do that whole like slow build-up tension, that slow burn. You just don't see that in games that much. You know what I'm saying? Like narrated, story-driven games, especially for indie companies, it's something that really doesn't happen. And I'm really excited. I hope that, you know, Torture Star Pictures who did this, or Torture Star Games, I should say, who did this, they are a publishing label for Puppet Combo, so a lot of the vibes, a lot of the kind of narrated horror-driven stories, they're very similar in a way. They're very inspired by each other. And yeah, I'm very excited. Hopefully, we're able to play a couple more of those things because there's a ton of those games, so maybe I'll play something else very similar. But thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you made it this far, I love playing these type of games. I love going and deep diving into all of this. It is just super exciting. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And I'll be making another video like this similar. Maybe I'll do another game. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. And, you know, all your support, it really means a lot to me. Thank you so much.